That's why I was always so excited being on the show back then. I was just talking about the excitement level that me and James would feel when John King of Showbiz News and Model News, I believe that was actually the exact production, he was throughout the country. He had about 6 different locations. I think one was LA, Chicago, Florida, and maybe Philadelphia, where his publication and the show was aired. So it was always shot at LK Studios, which is now M&N Studios here in beautiful Manhattan, New York City in America. So always being on the John King show for me as a young actor, and James was even younger than me. He was a little boy. He'd be on the show.
Yeah, believe it or not.
He'd bring his
takes better care of himself.
He'd bring his toys. His mother would be there with crackers for him and stuff. It was all great. But I was always so excited to be on the show because John always said, you know, we'll get a tape of it. Plus he'd give us the air dates. And way back then when the world was very young and very simple, that was the most exciting news. Oh, I'm going to get to see myself on TV. I then get the tape, which was VHS tapes back then, no DVD, right? We're talking VHS tapes.
Yeah, it was good old days, you know.
And,
VHS, easy to, put reels together, add stuff to your reel.
That's right. And then John King,
edit.
And then he had a Show Business News, which was a trade paper, and he'd have different articles in it. And then at the same time, he'd have all the people that appeared on the last episodes, their picture in it. And back then, that was... for me personally, as good as an Oscar.
Yeah.
As good as an Oscar.
At least you've done,
Look what I'm looking through to try to see the reflection.
And you walk still working and whatnot. Me and Jennifer are close, but I didn't realize, is this on camera? We're close. I mean, she's the co-host.
I'm really digging these pants. Look at these. What kind of pants are these? This is a really unique material.
Long live rock and roll. What can I say? Actually, to give you an idea, I think what should I wear for the show? The fashion coordinator, unfortunately, she's over in LA right now. And I said to myself, I checked out Jim Morrison, a certain look that he had. And then I looked at some shots of a guy called Robert Plant from like the 90s, certain looks he had with shirts. As you can see, I'm wearing a certain style shirt with these pants. And I looked at the shoes, and then one of my fashion coordinators said, hey, go for it. It all kind of worked, and that's where I am now.
So it's kind of Jim Morrison meets Robert Plant, otherwise known as Peter Austin Noto.
But for about an hour or so before the show even started, me and Rich, the everlasting Ryan. Sometimes it's known as Rich and Ryan. There's also Ryan. This is an old-time joke because me and Ryan go back way back in Tallahassee. We're talking about the new beaches and the women. So, that's why I'm a little kooky right now. Just the vision of it, and I was trying to get James a little info about the new beaches that Ryan goes to, and you can imagine.
Have you ever been to a new beach, James?
A new beach?
Yes.
That's a new.
No. Ryan on the show.
Or maybe
no, I wouldn't mind.
Maybe you might not want to disclose it to all of our viewers. That's okay.
That's not so much that. I wouldn't mind going, but, I gotta sort of get in a little shape. I'll be reluctant with it. That's like people with my clothes on,
The most talented James Dickson is here. Welcome back, James Dickson. So, James, tell us a little bit about how you started in this industry.
Well, actually, I was raised in, can you hear me? Louisville, Kentucky. That's where I'm from. And I guess I became interested in acting in high school there. I wasn't a very good student. I kind of repeating myself. I got this on my reel. And I was hearing about, I want to be successful in life, but I figure, hey, I'm never going to be a doctor or a lawyer. And I started hearing about a lot of my favorite actors, you know, Sidney Poitier, Michael Caine, and these kind of people were sort of like, I think even Tom Cruise, who's also lived in Louisville for a while, you know, had never finished high school. And so I thought maybe, well, you know, hey, with acting, maybe I can become successful. So I guess it started off on that level.
And when was this?
You know, we're going back to the,
unless you don't want to disclose that.
late 60s or something, okay, when I was in high school, yeah. So, you know, I started doing like community theater in Louisville. And then when I was 20-ish, I decided to make the big jump to New York. So in the 70s, early 70s, you know, I went to a lot of acting schools.
How long did it take for you to make that jump, considering it's taken you quite some time to get to the Peter Austin Deliver show, and you live right here in the city? When did you finally get to New York City, James?
Well, actually, I was 20 when I came here. You know, I came here with a one-way ticket, a train ticket, and I had $90. Yeah, so, you know. You know, I started in a lot of the, you know, free workshops. And a couple years later, I was in a production of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Olympia Dukakis was in it. You know, Danny DeVito was in this production. You know,
a theater production.
Yeah. Yeah, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. You know, before we did the year's movie. And so you know, I
tell us about your role in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. What did you have to do, James?
Well, actually, I was Abe Williams, one of the orderlies. It's not an equity role, but
That's pretty cool.
yeah. I was in the show about 8 months. I did something like 240 performances down here in the village. And I remember James R. Jones came to the show one night, and we got a laugh from him in the scene. And another time, Jack Nicholson came to see our show. You know,
Good. That's pretty good stuff.
yeah.
Was this one of your first glimpses of what theater was like in New York City?
Yeah, well, I had done, you know, maybe a number of off-Broadway small theater stuff before I got the show. But Cuckoo's Nest was the first time I worked with really professional actors. You know, some of them had been on Broadway and they were Actors Studio. So, you know, I got a really taste of really, you know, good acting.
So this was in the 70s?
In the 70s, yeah.
So these people that you work with, these A-list actors, they weren't the big names that they are today, back then?
Oh, no. But they're very good. You learned a lot, you know, because they're very, you know, professional. And they helped me grow, you know, as an actor, you know. And, yeah, you know, and I got my way in the union. I got in a SAG and AFTRA. At that time, I think it was like $265. It's like $3,000 now to get in the union. Yes, $3,000 because, you know, they merged. But it kills his kids today. I said I got in SAG for something like $135. Yeah, you know, so you just go way back. But, yeah. You know, I did a lot of extra stuff.
How did you get into SAG?
Actually, I bought my way into AFTRA. And then at that time, 6 months later, you automatically were eligible for SAG at half. It was like $265 to get into the AFTRA. So like I say, $135 I got in SAG.
Okay. Now, I understand that you had a role on an awesome TV sitcom, Sanford and Son.
So yeah, I did a lot of extra stuff, small stuff in New York, and then 75, you know, doing a lot of black shows, good times. I decided to go out to Hollywood, try my luck out there. So I went out in 75, I think, and I spent about 4 or 5 years out there. And among other things, I did some extra work on Sanford and Son about 4 times. As a matter of fact, I recently found a picture online, one of the episodes, where it shows me.
Right?
Yeah, Red Fox, and yeah.
What kind of experience was it like working with Red Fox?
It was a lot of fun, you know. Those shows were sort of like, you know, like Letterman and stuff. And that's Saturday Night Live, you know, so you're not there 12 hours. Well, Saturday Night Live, I think you rehearse. But like, you know, Letterman and stuff, you sort of show up. So, you know, they rehearse all week, and then Friday they would bring us in. And so we're there like a few hours. So that's, yeah, he was a crazy guy. Like,
Off camera,
off camera, he'd be giving these X-rated jokes with us. But he was cool, you know.
Hey, Red Fox.
Yeah.
Fox is Red Fox. God rest his soul.
Yeah.